We are in the middle of Sefirat Ha'Omer, so we're going to talk a little bit about the counting of the day, but before that we have to understand a little bit about the idea behind Sefirat Ha'Omer. I was explaining a couple times, but also on Shabbat, that we all have a purpose in this world, and we all have to fulfill this purpose in this world. Now, the purpose is usually not what you think it is. One of the main parts of our purpose is to refine myself, and more to refine my midot, my attributes and my characteristics. Most people don't even know what's their purpose in this world. They just live their life, and if they're lucky, maybe towards the end of their life, they're starting to figure out what's really their purpose in this world. If you can't answer yourself the question, what is your purpose in this world, then you have to start searching and do it fast before Mashiach comes. But we all have a purpose here, and in most cases it's not what you think it is. One of the major parts of our purpose in this world is to refine my characteristics, what is called tikkun midot. And all my life I will be given opportunities to be able to do it. One of the ways of enabling to do it is I have to learn how to humble myself. If I don't know how to humble myself, I will never ever be able to refine my midot, and therefore I will never reach to my purpose in this world, and then I will have to come back here again in another incarnation, and another incarnation, and another one. But Mashiach is coming, so there's not more options. So now is the time where I have to really focus on what do I need to do in this world. The entire Torah is teaching you how to bring yourself to a level of humbleness that you are able to receive the message from Hashem, what you need to work on. Most people are clueless when it comes to what they need to do in this world. And I'm not talking right now that you need to find a job and to have parnasa and to get married. These are basic things that we have to do, and you know what? Kadosh Baruch Hu takes care of that. If you think that you have any control about how much money you're going to make and who you're going to marry and how many kids you're going to have, you have zero control. Let Hashem worry about that, and you worry about what you need to worry about. If you're constantly running about how to make a living, how am I going to grow in this world, and etc., then you're wasting your time. When you figure out finally at one point in your life that your main purpose in this world is to refine yourself, then you can start looking for tools, for the right appropriate tools, how to do that. I was explaining on Shabbat, I'm going to repeat myself very briefly, a little bit different, that when it comes to midot, to my own characteristics, my own attributes, there's only two groups. A group of positive midot and a group of negative midot. That's how it works. Shlomo HaMelech defines it in the best way possible. He says, Ze l'umat ze bara Elokim. Kadosh Baruch Hu created everything with a mirror, with an opposition. There's always going to be something good, and on the other side will be something bad. When it comes to midot, if you're looking at the positive side, then the highest or the first midah is midat ha'anava, the midah of humility and being humble. And on the other side, opposing it will be, or the worst midah will be midat ha'geava, the midah of pride. Or in our day, you call it ego. Now, both together, they don't get along. Either you have midat ha'anava, or you don't. Then if you don't, then you have midat ha'geava. You can't have both at the same time. I know, if you go really to the details of it, then to have a geava, if you utilize it for something positive, then it can coexist with anava. It all depends how you're nourishing the midah. Everything that Kadosh Baruch Hu created it for something positive. Kadosh Baruch Hu created anger in the world. Why should there be anger in the world? So I should get angry at my Yetzer Hara when he's pulling me to do Avera. So I can use the anger to something positive, and of course I can use the anger for something negative. Kadosh Baruch Hu created jealousy in the world. Jealousy is not a good thing, but nevertheless, our sages say, Kinat sofrim tarbe chokhmah. When I have jealousy of somebody, a great sage, a great chacham, a great scholar, then it causes me to become competitive. I want to be as great as him. So all the midot that the Kadosh Baruch Hu created, he created them with a positive purpose. But most people, they direct it to something negative. There's one thing that we experience many times that the Kadosh Baruch Hu did not create. I'm sure you heard many times the famous quote of Rabbi Nachman from Breslev that he says, "En yaush ba'olam." There's no despair in the world. Most people think it's just a bumper sticker or something cool to say. There's no yaush ba'olam. But the reality is that Rabbi Nachman was already telling us, why do you fall into despair? Hashem didn't create such a thing. He created anger. He created hate. He created jealousy. He created love. He created compassion. He created everything. You know what he didn't create? He didn't create despair. It doesn't exist even in the world. It's not even an arsenal. How dare you fall into despair? That's 100% the Yetzer Hara tricking you with something that doesn't exist. And Yaush Ba'olam. So he's not trying to give you some uplifting slogan that don't worry. He's just coming and telling you something very simple. It doesn't exist. Don't fall for the Yetzer Hara when he's trying to tell you, fall to despair. So, with that said, everything that the Kadosh Baruch Hu created was created to use it in a positive way. You can take it now to almost anything in this world. Kadosh Baruch Hu created electricity, he created internet, he created computers. You can use it for something good, and you can use it for something bad. Now they found recently, a few decades ago, nuclear power. You can take this nuclear power and use this energy, this unbelievable energy, but you can take all this nuclear power and you can destroy cities. So, going back to our topic, which is midot, Kadosh Baruch Hu created anger, and he created jealousy, and he created sadness and impatience, and so, but it's all to use for something positive. So also ego, also geava was created, but you have to know how to use it to a positive way. With that said, I constantly have to see how there's one side good midot, one side bad midot. All of us are created equally in the way that we all have a list of good characteristics and bad characteristics. Doesn't mean I'm better than you, doesn't mean you're better than me. Just means that we all got different tools in order to help create the world. If we now all want to build a house, then imagine now there's somebody in charge who says, okay, here's a brush, you start painting. Here's a hammer, you start banging. Here's whatever it is, a broom, start sweeping. Kadosh Baruch Hu did the exact same thing with us, and he gave each and every one of us certain tools to be able to do our purpose in this world. It's a mistake to say I'm better than you, I'm smarter than you, I'm more important than you. There's no such thing. In the eyes of Hashem, when you're going into the essence of things, Hashem sees us all the exact same thing. He doesn't have favorites. Oh, I like him better than him. So, when I'm talking about in the root of things, when I have to come to approach the entire journey of refining myself, is I always have to go to the root of everything. The root of everything is always going to be the highest midah that triggers everything. Now, again, we will all be born with a list of good midot. I can be charitable, I can be happy, I can be patient, I can be whatever it is. You use your imagination. And on the other hand, I can be having a lot of bad midot, that I can be quick to anger, can be very jealous, very judgmental, very impatient, and so forth. And the list is extremely, extremely long. There are many different books that talk about the topic of tikkun midot, that one of them we used to learn on Saturday morning before Shacharit. We used to learn from the book Sha'arei Kedusha. And this is one of the basic books. It's not a basic book, it's a deep book, but one of the basic approaches to tikkun midot. It's written by Rabbi Chaim Vital, the student of the Arizal, Rabbi Yitzchak Luria, which if you look at the introduction to the book, he says there that the main part of why we came to this world is tikkun midot. That's why we came to this world. We didn't come here for anything else. And he gives a whole in-depth discussion how to approach it, how to recognize the midot, where the midot are coming. He's explaining it based on many interesting things. But nevertheless, this is one of the many books that approaches the topic of tikkun midot. Another famous book that we're also learning here is called Tomer Dvorah, written by Rabbi Moshe Cordovero, the Ramak, another way of approaching, a different approach of tikkun midot. But it all boils down to the same thing, that when I need to focus on what I need to do in my world, in my life, is that how am I taking this product that I was given, now refine it. Now make the 2.0 version of this product. And that's me. That's my process in this world. And it will take me 60 years, 50 years, 80 years, as long as it needs to take. But if I'm not working on it, then I'm wasting my time. So comes a time in the year that the journey of Tikkun HaMidot is more focused on. And this is the time when we are now, between Pesach and Shavuot. The reason why it's positioned between Pesach and Shavuot, first of all, is because Pesach is really the beginning of the year. Most people think that Tishrei is the beginning of the year. We just read today in the reading of today. It says, B'chodesh HaRishon, the first month is Nisan. We're in the beginning of the year right now. It happens to be Rosh Hashanah. It's in Tishrei. It's called Rosh Hashanah. You know what, where we see that it's really not the beginning? Because if it would be the beginning, it should be called Tchilat Hashanah. But it's called Rosh Hashanah, the head of the year. It doesn't call it the beginning of the year. Now we're in the beginning of the year. So I mentioned that yesterday and many other times, that our main purpose in this world to focus on is to go out of Mitzrayim, which is equivalent to Tikkun HaMidot. It's a different definition. One will call it the rectification of my characteristics. Another one will call it Yetziat Mitzrayim, go out of your Egypt. I'm sure you remember the famous quote. We just read it now in the Haggadah. B'chol dor vador, omdim aleinu lechalotenu. Every generation, somebody's standing here to destroy us. And it says there, B'chol dor vador chayav adam lirot atzmo kilu yatsa miMitzrayim. Every generation, a person has to see himself like as if he went out of Egypt. What does it mean, B'chol dor vador? Which means that going out of Egypt is not going out of the country Egypt, 700 kilometers from here. It's going out of my own Mitzrayim, out of my own Egypt, out of my own limitations. And in order for me to go out of my own limitations, there has to be a process for that. But the first and most important part of the process is to totally nullify myself. If I am not in a complete nullification, what the Kabbalistic term to it is bitul muchlat, a complete nullification, I'm not going to be able to do anything. Because my ego is always going to come in the way and bother me. And come and give me a whole different approach of what's going on here. So the first and most important is when I want to approach to this journey, then I have to know how to humble myself. That's why we're starting in Pesach. Because we had a 2-month preparation from Tu B'Shvat to Purim. It was the first step of our preparation. And we had a lot of classes on Tu B'Shvat explaining to us what we need to do for the next month. Then a month later, the 15th day of Adar, we had the next level that we grew up. We had a lot of classes about Purim. What's the approach of Purim? It's not only eating Hamantashen. Purim is what do I need to apply now for the next of the month till I get to Pesach. Now we had a lot of classes that we learned. What do I need to do when I'm preparing for Pesach? Physically, what most people are doing to prepare for Pesach is the clean. So the cleaning, the cleaning can be done in 2 days. You don't have to take a whole month to clean your house. I understand that some people want to do what's called a spring cleaning. That's very nice. You can do it whenever you want, but that's not Pesach cleaning. Pesach cleaning can take exactly 2 days. All you need to do is clean the house from chametz. That's all it is. Now, if you have a 45,000 square foot house, I understand it will take you more than 2 days. But we live in very small houses. It should not take you more than 2 days. And sometimes you see people climbing on 9-foot ladders, cleaning the boards there's no chametz up there. Right? You think there's chametz on this chandelier? Have you ever seen somebody standing there with a pita and throwing their pita bread up there and you have to look for chametz on the chandelier? There's nothing up there. The cleaning of the chametz is cleaning my own chametz. Okay, now I know it's a little bit past the point, but the month that I have to prepare for Pesach is I have to clean my own chametz, which chametz represents my ego, my ge'ava. And the opposite of chametz would be matzah, which is a flat piece of bread. That's me being crushed into nothing, that I don't have nothing left. The chametz is the ego, and the matzah is the Anava, that there's nothing left, that I'm humble in front of the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Now, just as a side note, you have two options of approaching this. You either do it yourself, and if you don't do it yourself, you get an assistant from Hashem, and he's going to crush you, one way or another. So you choose how do you want this approach to come? Hashem says, listen, I'll give you the option of doing it by yourself. You're not going to do it by yourself? I'm going to kvetch you, one way or another. So one person would lose his job, one person would lose his fortune, another person would lose his marriage, another person this. I mean, we all go through our own challenges, and sometimes we don't understand, why is Hashem doing this to me? Because you are too stubborn, and Hashem says, if you're not going to do it, I will do it for you. And you know when you become humble, is when Hashem squeezes the juice out of you. So we want to do it ourselves because it's going to be done in a much nicer way. We don't need Hashem to squeeze our juice out of us. Now, this is a very broad and quick overview of what we need to do when it comes to Tikkun HaMidot. If a person doesn't do that on a daily basis, then they're really wasting their time on this planet, and there's going to come a day that either they're going to wake up and it's going to be way too late, or they're going to leave this world and get the smack to their face that I didn't do nothing here. And a lot of people think they're going to come up to Shamayim with a whole library of Torah that they learned, and they're going to tell them in Shamayim, it's very nice that you learned Torah, but your Torah is worthless if you didn't work on yourself in this world. So a lot of people in the world of the Torah, they think that if I'm going to be super particular about every little halakha, and I'm going to learn Torah for 9 hours, but I'm still going to be lying and cheating and full of anger and full of jealousy and full of animosity. So what's your Torah is worth? Your Torah is worthless. If you think we are impressing Hashem with Torah, He says, I don't need your Torah. I have Rabbi Akiva in Shamayim. I have Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Your Torah is this big. Your Torah is nothing. I don't need you to impress me with Torah. I need you to impress me with changing yourself. Our sages say it in the nicest way. Rachman liba debaye. The Kadosh Baruch Hu cares about what's in the heart. He doesn't care about all the fluff around, how you dress, how you behave around people. He wants to see what's going on in the heart. So the smartest suggestion that anybody can take is you have to already now apply it in your life. It doesn't matter how old you are. You can be 20 and you can be 80. It doesn't matter. But if you don't work on your midot on a daily basis, you're missing the main part of your life, of your existence in this world, and there's only one way out of this. It's either waking up when it's too late, or chas v'shalom, when the neshama leaves the world and then it sees, wait a minute, but what do you want from me, Hashem? I did mitzvot, I learned Torah. Yeah, but you didn't work on yourself. I gave you the product, you gave it to be back to me exactly the same way. I didn't get any refinement here. So comes the period of Sefirat Ha'Omer that now, not only that it's something that we need to focus on, we also have a coupon, a 90% coupon where Hashem says, now get it a little bit easier. You don't have to pay the full price. Now you can get it easier. And it's going to come in increments where you can slowly work on your midot. So this is a very, very short introduction to what we need to now approach in the next 49 days. I mean, we're already 47 days. But nevertheless, we still in the beginning. So even if you missed a day or two to, so to say, prepare yourself, okay, day or two is not too bad. I know people at the 46th day of the Omer, they're, I forgot to come. What day are we today? So, like I told you on Shabbat, and I also told you yesterday, my recommendation when it comes to Sefirat Ha'Omer, at least if you're not doing it up to now, make yourself a habit in these next 47 days, that you make sure that you pray Arvit with a minyan in a shul. Because it means you're going to count the Omer right in its time, and not 2 hours later, not 4 hours later, not the next day. Because most people, if they don't count it, it's 8 o'clock. When it's time for Arvit, then they forget, they fall asleep. And then in the morning, they don't remember if they counted, they didn't count, I forgot to count, what day we today, and then you miss it. So that's human nature. So make yourself a good habit and make sure that you come to a minyan, wherever it is, and you pray with the minyan, women too, and at least you hear the chazan saying, Ayom, Yom, Echad Ba'omer, or whatever it is, you hear it, and you pray with them, you knock it out. Somebody asked me yesterday, how come we don't count the Omer in the day? It makes more sense to count it in the morning, right? In Shacharit. First of all, the day starts the night before. Vayi erev, vayi boker. The day starts the night before. Besides that, it's a mitzvah. It's a mitzvah from the Torah. Usfartem lechem mechorat Shabbat. We read that yesterday in the Torah. It's a mitzvah from the Torah. Why do you want to delay a mitzvah? If you have the opportunity to do the mitzvah, why do you want to wait till tomorrow? Do it already now. It's Tzat HaKochavim in 20 minutes. Do it the second that you can. Do it. Why do you want to delay it? So, we need to focus on in this next 47 days on refining ourselves. The prize, so to say, is if you do it the right way, we explained it yesterday, I don't want to repeat, is that at the night of Shavuot, you're able to receive a much greater capacity of this godly light that will affect your soul in many different ways. Most people don't even realize, but a big part of the challenges they have in their life is caused because of their own behavior. And they don't understand why things don't work out. Why they don't get married, why business is not working, why this relationship is not working, why the health department is not so great. Because I'm causing it. I'm not letting a place for Hashem to operate, and I'm not letting myself to grow. So now comes a very, very auspicious time to focus on what I need to do. It's triple auspicious because Mashiach is really around the corner. I don't know if you're noticing what's going on even in the world. You don't have to be a genius to figure out that Mashiach is literally any second. It's just unbelievable. It's like any buzz that I hear is like, okay, maybe he's here. I mean, you can feel it in your bones. So much more so that we want to get with the program because there's not a lot of time.